Gigi's trying to push my seat in.
Yeah, she'll do that. Her butt will activate the seat.
To me.
I like that.
Bursting with intense notes of citrus, especially lime.
I would say
you can
it has
taste
a
the
citrus
lime.
twist.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it is.
Okay. Season 1, Episode 4. Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Good app.
What do you think the IMDb rating is on that app?
I think it's high. I'm going to say it's 9.4.
Oh, you are low. I believe it is 9.6.
Wow.
Wowie, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, this one was widely regarded. The buzz for this going in was very good. 9.7 now. I feel like you didn't give it a 9.7 in your head. Am I misinterpreting you? You seemed a little underwhelmed in the moment.
No, I was not underwhelmed. It's very interesting because people love this show. I also love this show.
I love this show.
But again, it seems like it's impressive how. I guess I'm just surprised by how much people like it, considering how little is big action.
I thought we were gonna get some of the jousting in this ep, and that was gonna lead it to the big score. I was kind of surprised.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what surprises me about how high this one is rated, because really it's the anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I would say my only disappointment isn't real disappointment, because I thought the episode was very good. I just was like, there's no way. And even starting the episode, I was like, there's no way they're going to get to that in 35 minutes was the episode. I was like, there's just no way we're getting and again, it was a great episode. I am not knocking it at all. It's just funny that it is not what I would expect people to rate it so great. But people are rolling on a high on this TV show.
And why do you think that is? Why this episode got that big rating there?
Well, obviously it had our hero's entry at the end.
Mm-hmm.
We got, I think it's hard for me to see why they would review it that. Like, I know why I love it so much. I know why there are things I love about this episode. Like their charisma together continues to be freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The scene of Egg going into his cell and being like, still being his squire and still being like, I'm the boy in trouble. And Duncan, like, I love so much that Sir Duncan is like, there's nothing that could go worse for me now. So like yelling at the heir to the throne doesn't matter. Grabbing Damon? No. Arian.
The guy, yeah. The
drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Aemon. We knew this because we know who he becomes. Grabbing Aemon later and just like about to like just punch the crap out of him, and they're just like, he's like, you can't kill me twice. Like it's not a thing. Though he's not thinking very clearly, because there's a lot worse things than death, I think, that could happen to them. But I like the characterization by Duncan Egg in that cell when he's just like pouted in the corner, basically crying, like upset about like him not lying, but lying about who he is. And like, he knows that he's kind of ruined this friendship that's gotten really good. And we saw a lot of that in a lot of the like action montages of the jousting, was just like the friendship that's coming like between these two. And obviously we'll get back to that at some point. But like that was tremendous. It is very fun to see the like flip of the coin when it comes to the Targaryens that they used to talk about all the time, which is just like, you know, every time a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin and you get one or the other, and you see like the two of them. But then also I feel like you see Daemon's dad, Aegon's dad, Aemon's dad, all of them, the king, who is going to enter this contest and is kind of the closest to a middle character, I think, that we have, in that he thinks his son is an idiot, but he's also doesn't care about little people at all. He's very Targaryen in that. He just, you know, he's more worried about how this will be seen to the kingdom as the weakness of his son than he is his son doing something stupid. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But I still think the biggest moment of all of it was the entrance by the King's Hand, the non-blonde Targaryen.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah, and I think the other part of this episode is that we talked last week about the Targaryens' position in Westeros now.
It's tentative.
It's tentative. It's a little flimsy now that they don't have the dragons. There's a lot of resentment for the way that they've ruled using those dragons. Mostly
literally years after the Black Rattle Rebellion, literally a year, if not less.
Right. They don't even have enough cachet to be able to marry their siblings anymore. How
they got to
marry
the mighty.
They have to marry unrelated people, which is absurd.
Well, that's of course how they got Dorne.
Right. But so I think this show is really appealing to the people that love Game of Thrones. They've read all the books, they watched all the series, they know all the lore, and this was a great episode for lore drops if you were looking for it, because so the Targaryen guy invokes the Battle of the Seven, which is a ludicrous thing to do in the world of Westeros. We don't have very many of these ever.
No, and it's also funny because the Targaryens, it's an old god custom, which the Targaryens are like have nothing to do with, let alone kind of the kingdoms in general. Like it's like of the North and of a very old North. So
why does he do it then? Why does he call for a trial by 7?
He calls it for a trial by 7 because he doesn't think that Duncan will
he'll find 6 friends. Yeah. He thinks he doesn't have 6 friends. And so to see him find 6 friends, it's like you're thinking in the episode, who the hell is going to stand with him? Now I have to vamp.
Yep, for 2 seconds.
Who is going to stand with him given the Targaryens' place in the world, and to see all of these people come in with different motivations is fascinating.
Well, it's super fascinating, especially because it shows you how ignorant Damien is, in that he still thinks that the Targaryens are all powerful. And so he's like, there's no way 7 people would stand against.
Exactly.
It's not even like, will he have 7 friends? It's like, there's no way he'll have enough people to stand against me. And he even pulls the extra scheme where he steals the Foss away.
Right.
And says he'll make him a lord, which was a great twist, because you're like the Fossaway character's so great. The Fossaways in general are so awesome. And just the way they act about things. But then you're like, oh, no, he's totally a piece of shit, just like everybody else. So you get like a little double twist there. And for a second there, it looks like Damon isn't going to get a 7. And then that goes poorly for him.
And what's the main reason that Dunk is able to find 7 in the first place?
Because of the boy.
Because Egg is working to help recruit these guys. So not only is there a lot more open rebellion against the Targaryens just in the general world, but also inside
within the Targaryens,
the house. And obviously the last scene is the biggest moment of that, but it's been working throughout the episode as Egg goes and recruits people against his family cause, basically. I was reading there was one other trial by 7
in the history
in the written out history of Westeros. If you look through all the Game of Thrones books and the House of the Dragon books, etc. Do you know, so 7 on 7, 14 people. Do you know how many people died?
All 14.
13, and one was in a coma for, I think, 2 weeks or something like that. So when Egg is out there recruiting people against his own family, never happens in Westeros, and the only examples they have of this is where
very poorly,
just scorched earth. And
we know that one of the Targaryens is going to take a dive, because Aemon says, "Just hit me and I'll fall down. Just make it look good, and please don't kill me." Is basically his request, because for some reason his dad's like, you have to be out here, which does make sense because he did lie and got Duncan even more trouble. Said he stole the boy. Again, they bring some of the levity when that giant knight stands up and farts.
Yep.
I was actually, it's been long enough since I read the books. I was having a hard time remembering who the seventh was until he showed up. I knew it was a big deal. I just couldn't quite remember. And then I instantly remembered how it goes poorly for them. But I know everybody's probably spoiled out, but I'll resist the
we'll save that
one.
for the next ep. But yeah, it did have a bunch of. There was the nut cracking scene. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he makes the guy crawl down on the floor to pick up the nut that he clearly has access to. And does he just keep missing them? Does he eat any of them? Because he's breaking them with the base of his knife, and I feel like he almost sends all of them flying.
You have to check the tape, but he doesn't get a whole lot at all if he gets any. You can continue to watch this episode or this series not knowing anything about Game of Thrones. It's a good standalone story, and it hits the beats of classic storytelling very well. But for people like us who have read the books and understand the world beyond what they're showing, there's so many hat tips.
There's a ton of hat tips. What I find annoying, which I think some people find annoying just in general about George R. R. Martin's writing, is that his history is like very British based, and so names are the same, and everyone names somebody after somebody, and so you can't like Aegon. You're like, okay, which one of 17 Aegons are we talking about here? That makes it a little difficult sometimes because you're like, is it that Aemon or? And then you have to go back and look at a chart, basically.
The series first dropped, I watched season 1 first, then read all the books that were out, and went from there. And after the first ep, I remember studying the shit out of the family trees that they made available on no free ads, HBO.com.
Yep. They, I would say the Game of Thrones series made the families easier in the first season. They didn't get too crazy with where it was going.
No, but there were still so many characters, and you did have to you had to pay close attention. Blink and you would have missed an important connection. So it was something that you had to do. And still, even reading the books, I would constantly go back to the genealogy that's in the back of the books.
What I think is very good about this show, if you're coming from it outside of the lore, is that you don't need any of it for this, because the story, unlike his other
very
books,
self-contained,
is here is A and here is B and here's how we're going to get between those three, and the power struggles between the characters are not that important. You know that this is a king, and you know he's got some issues, but at no time do you even need to care that he's a Targaryen, other that you know Targaryens are dragons. That's really about all you need to know, and I think they kind of make that pretty clear for you what's going on there. And so I think that is some of the reasons why this show is doing so well, is that it is very, you're not lost in the lore,
right.
But they are making they are doing fan service without the Marvel's version of fan service
in the best possible way.
Guy,
yes,
there's that guy.
Absolutely. It is fan servicey, but not in the way that term is typically thrown around. Yeah. Another example of that is just the prophecy.
Yeah.
That Dunk and Egg get. So as just somebody who's new to the show, you could hear that prophecy and go, "Oh, that's interesting. I guess that's setting up future seasons. What's going to happen with that?" But of course, from the books and from the main show, prophecy has such a rich history. Yeah. In the Game of Thrones universe. So you can tell, first of all, you know what's going to happen, how things are going to progress down the line, but you also, you have certain connotations of prophecy in this world that that George R. R. Martin uses that way, with the different prophecies being interpreted multiple different ways for different people, informing their actions, sometimes to the same prophecy inform two different characters two completely different ways. Yeah. So there's a lot to read into that prophecy thing if you are a big nerd about it.
Well, and it's also, we talk about this a lot with the books and the TV shows, that we know George R. R. Martin relies on the idea of an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
And whether he means to do it or not, sometimes, who knows? But it allows him to get away with a lot because he can just change whatever he wants and just say they were lying or they interpreted it wrong. But it does make prophecies powerful because none of them are very clear. They're very like, I saw flames and I knew I was dead. Like, and it was a large tree over me, and you're a tree guy, so I'm pretty sure it was you. Like, but you could also be like, but they are green, so it could be them that like kill me. And like, I don't know, I was old or young. I may have been all of the things. So I think that makes them pretty clear. Jumping over to a not 9.7 rated episode, Hijack.
What's the rating on that, do you think?
My guess is 6.9.
Nice.
That might be a little low.
I'll say 7.1.
I feel like IMDb is high, right? Typically.
In what way?
Like they skew higher than Metacritic or some of the other houses of ratings.
Yeah, I mean the ratings on IMDb, if it's 6 and above, that's usually pretty good stuff for a movie.
7 flat.
7 flat. Oh, what did I say? I said 7.1.
I think so, and I said 6.9. So
ties like kissing your sister.
I mean, you did go over, but
Yeah.
if we're talking prices right. This show, I think, is getting better. This episode?
I think this episode was a little bit better. Yeah, I think some more stuff happened.
We're getting a little bit of verses going on where the train conductor, Otto, and Sam are trying to figure out who killed Max, Mark, Frank, Fred, the bicyclist.
The bicyclist, yeah. And you had a what turned out to be a guess last week, but boy, were you much more confident.
By this ep?
Last ep, in episode 3, the guy is killed.
Yes.
And we thought for sure we knew who did it.
They definitely tried to make it. They definitely wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's this guy who did it.
And that turns out not to be the case.
Yes. And that's what I guessed last week, or I guess that was him.
You guessed it was the guy with the drugs.
Yeah.
Who killed him.
That was my assumption, and I think I fell for that pretty hard.
Would you say it was a switch?
It was a little switch and a bait.
It's a title of the episode.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
It was a switch, and they did it a couple times because there was a nice little face-off between the reporter, I think, or the lady who wanted to work for Sam, May.
Mm-hmm.
She has a little face-off with the dude because she finds this secret bag that he's hidden, and he thought that the cops were going to storm, and he was just trying to hide drugs.
Yeah.
And that's how he hurt his arm. Not in a struggle.
No, not killing somebody.
So they double switched us. And then I've definitely continued to guess that May is somehow involved, but they're leaning pretty hard in that she's not involved. So we'll see as time goes on. But we did find out that the doctor on the train is involved.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I don't understand is it seems like she got off the train and then back on the train. Because she snagged her coat on the door. That's how they figure it out. And it seems like the doctor went forwards, killed him, and then went out the door so as not to be seen. Or did she somehow get out the door while they were struggling around the door and then went forward and then got in? I mean, I think she got in the middle section, not like in one of the main doors. So maybe she went forward and around. Anyways, she went to the outside. It did seem for a second there that maybe they were suspecting that someone external to the train altogether got on the train and killed him and then stayed on the train. And then it didn't lean that way. And then we got a little bit of a side plot with an asthmatic baby.
Mm-hmm.
They snuck the baby off. They're supposed to get this other guy on the train. That didn't really progress all that much other than him being picked up. We did see a side plot where Peter tried to... Peter's the British MI agent or minister or something who tried to smuggle... He was going to try and get him on a plane and get out, which I kind of applaud, but that obviously wouldn't have ended well for people. But he kind of got caught trying to do that, which it's funny. I think he's probably just going to be sent home to Europe at this point. He's messed up a couple of times now at this point. But this episode felt the least like last season. Like the same story. Like there's a little bit more intrigue going on.
Yeah, I'm picking up a little bit. There's still a pacing problem for me. The story, I'm not getting as many interesting story beats for the 4 hours we've spent with this story.
Well, the most exciting part was around his wife, which switched to. So we know that she went axe on the car the episode before on this guy who was surveilling her. And then we find out he was sent up there by her boyfriend, the cop, to go help her. And then he goes inside, tries to talk to her for a little bit. She says, I don't need you. He's like, you're probably right. And then he goes back to the car. And then the cop's like, okay, you need to go grab her and you need to go now because something is bad. And then that's when we get the switch from the neighbors who are clearly baddie bads.
Yeah.
And did they actually shoot him? I'm trying to remember. Did we get the gunshot, or were we about to get the gunshot? I think we got the gunshot.
I thought we got the gunshot.
They just didn't show him being mutilated.
Yeah.
Which was a great switch because I went from those two being bad to those two being good, and now clearly we're back to them being bad.
I know you hear how you're describing it though. That's not really doing a lot to disprove my point that we have gotten maybe an hour's worth of story in these 4 hours of episodes. First, we thought one thing about these two characters, then we thought a different thing, and it turns out it's the same original thing.
I mean, that is what the show is, though. Even the first season is that. Is like just trying to stack more mystery onto mystery to make what should be 2 hours a 10-ep season.
I think it's only 8 eps.
8? Okay.
I think so.
It was definitely the first season was definitely more thrilling.
I think we're at the halfway point, but it doesn't feel like it narratively. No. And I don't know, this season still isn't clicking for me like season 1.
No,
did.
Not at all. But I still don't think it's still better than a lot of television out there, I guess is what I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm still enjoying it. But I don't know if this season needs to exist, I guess is how I'd put it. Sometimes there's TV shows that just don't need to exist, especially in a universe where the first season exists.
Have you heard on Netflix there's now a feature where you can watch the show on a faster speed?
That's been around for a while. I would never do that.
It's absolutely insane. That's unhinged.
Yeah.
That said, Hijack might be
that's the one you want the 2 times on.
But 2 times might be a little much. But maybe.
Do you know
1 1/4?
You know how IMDb has like a plot summary and Wikipedia will do a plot summary, like Wikipedia's being a much longer one. Mm. This is a show that I don't think you would gain a whole lot more from. If you just read the Wikipedia summary of it, you would like, oh, that's the show. I get it. There's a couple of twists in there. Like I think if you took the script and just printed it, probably is like a Wikipedia summary.
Yeah.
But I think the best part of this show actually is the like acting, and I would say it's like the character interactions together is probably the best pieces of it. The totally out of place, but the conversation between Sam and the mom of the asthmatic child, where she says that you're not what I expected, is like that's a humanizing moment, and it's not bad, and it's like, I know it's pretty key, but it actually doesn't add anything to the television show. It just continues to hash on the like, we know you're not responsible for this thing. But that part kind of makes it worse in my mind. Like, that was kind of what was fun about the beginning of the first season, is you're like, oh, these guys hijacked the plane, and they are bad guys, but they're also like going further than they normally would, because they know like there is no saying no to these people that they've worked for. And so you don't really know anybody's intention. And so in this one, like, everybody is like doubting that this would happen. And I don't like, it's almost, it kind of ruined it too quickly. Like, I mean, we knew what the storyline was going to be from the get-go. It would be more interesting if Sam was doing this not under duress, or not under that duress. Like, that would almost be a more interesting version of it to me, if he was literally doing it because his son died and he was upset and he was trying to get revenge.
Yeah.
Because that would be a bigger twist to me than anything. Like from the second the hijacking happened and he was like, I'm hijacking this, you're like, that's the twist. But you're like, well, obviously he's doing this because like they have his family.
Yeah. And I think I said something similar last week, but this is still a show that needed an idea rather than
an idea that needed a show. Yeah, no, I can agree. But we'll finish it.
Yeah.
And we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, we can't disappoint
our fan.
The everyone who has gone on this journey with us.
Yeah.
Our fellow travelers.
Travelers, that's a good name. Well,
stay gold.
Stay gold, Pony Boy.